Hi, this is David Kirk with Eastfield College. This is Excel 2007 using formulas. Formulas are the most important thing to learn about spreadsheets. Not only will Excel make calculations like a calculator, but it will save these calculations as formulas. Let's give an example. Here in cell B3, all formulas begin with an equal sign. After that, I could type a simple mathematical expression such as 5 plus 5. And when I enter, it will evaluate that as a formula. And it evaluates to 10. Now, if I click back on this cell, up here in the formula bar, it tells you what the formula is. And you can edit the formula there. But a better way I like of editing the formula is if you double click in this cell, and now you can edit the formula in place. Let's add on to this formula. Let's say equals 5 plus 5 times 2. Okay, what do you think that will evaluate to? When I press enter, it comes out to be 15. Okay, now remember that pretty much all computer programs follow the order of operations. And the order of operations says that you do multiplication and division before you do addition and subtraction. So in this one, you multiply 5 times 2, which is 10. Then you add 5, which will give you 15. Okay, to delete a formula, you can just press the delete key, and that deletes the entire formula. Okay, now I'm going to create a little table of everything that's in my freezer. I have shrimp, say 24. I have king crab legs, 4 of them. I have sea scallops, 12 of them. And I have jellyfish, 10 of them. All waiting to go on the grill. Okay, so let's give this table a background shading, say yellow. Okay, now let's calculate the total fish. Okay, what we need to do is write a formula. Okay, the wrong way to write this formula, I'm going to go ahead and do it. But the wrong way to write this formula would be equals 24 plus 4 plus 12 plus 10. Okay, why is that wrong? Because if I press enter, it gives me the correct total fish. But the problem is that it's referencing these exact numbers. What if it turns out that I actually have 6 king crabs? Well, once I update the data, the formula is no longer correct. So the better way to write the formula is to reference the cells that all the data is in. So this formula should be equals C3, that pulls out the contents of C3, plus C4, plus C12, C5, plus C6. And so that will pull out the values that are stored in those cells. And so now, if your data were to change, for example, we'll change this 4 to a 6, then the total automatically updates. Okay, now, that's one way you could write that formula. But Excel also has a bunch of built-in functions that you can use. And let's look at the function to add up all those numbers. That is equals sum, then you do an open parentheses, and then you put the range of cells that you want to sum up. In this case, it would be C3 colon C6. So that means the range of cells between C3 and C6. And so when I press enter, it automatically sums up that range of cells. Okay, now let's look at some of the other functions that are built into Excel. Excel has hundreds of functions, and this is just a few of the popular ones. One is average. This would be the average of each fish. And this function is equals average. Then, just like in the sum function, open parentheses in the cell range, C3 colon C6. So that gives you the average. Another one is the minimum. And this gives you the smallest value that is within that range. So to write this function, you put equals min and then the same cell range as we've been using, C3 colon C6. And so if we look, what's the minimum value in that range? It would be a 6. Similarly is the maximum equals max cell range C3 colon C6. Gives us the maximum value within the range, which should be a 24. Another one is count. And what count does is just count how many values there are. And there's 4 values here. This is especially useful if you're working with a lot of data. So equals count and the cell range, C3 colon C6. Should give us, there's 4 values. Another one is count if. This allows us to count how many values meet a criteria. I'll give you an example. Let's say equals count if. Now this one takes 2 parameters. The first one is the cell range, for example, C3 colon C6, and then a comma, and then we put our criteria within quotations. For example, greater than 10. Now what this will do is count how many values are greater than 10. And that should be 2 values. Okay, now I'm going to show you a feature where you can have your spreadsheet show all the formulas. If you click up here on the menu where it says formulas, and then here's a button that says show formulas. What that does is it just takes your spreadsheet into formula view. Instead of making the calculations, it shows the formulas. You may need to expand the column a little bit to see the entire formula. Another way to do that, the shortcut hotkey, is Control tilde. That's the key right below the escape key. So that will take you back and forth between formula view and normal view. Okay, that concludes this session. Formulas will be continued in part 3 of Excel.